November 12th, 1970, Florence, Oregon. A man named Walter Umenhofer is standing in a parking lot, staring at his brand new Oldsmobile. He had purchased it just days earlier at a whale of a deal promotion. The irony was now literal. His car was buried under 50 pounds of rotting blubber that had just fallen from the stratosphere. How did an 8-ton sperm whale become a surface-to-air missile? This isn't just a story about a dead animal. It's a case study in industrial hubris. A story of what happens when you treat complex biology like a pile of rocks, and why you should never give 20 cases of dynamite to an engineer with a deadline. It started with a smell. When an 8-ton sperm whale washes up on a public beach, the clock starts ticking. Within 48 hours, internal gases build up. The carcass becomes a biological ticking time bomb. The task of removal fell to the Oregon State Highway Division, specifically a project engineer named George Thornton. Thornton was a man of asphalt and bridges. He understood the hard sciences, but he was about to face a problem that didn't follow his blueprints. The sand was too soft for heavy machinery, and the whale was too large to tow. In 1970, the Big Bang era of engineering was at its peak. If you had a problem, you blew it up. Thornton's plan was to use 20 cases, half a ton of 40% strength, nitroglycerin dynamite. His goal? Not just to move the whale, but to vaporize it. He believed the blast would turn the carcass into microfragments that the local seagulls would simply fly away with. But there was a witness. Walter Umenhofer, the man who would later lose his car, was a veteran explosive specialist. He saw the Highway Division trucks and pulled Thornton aside.
You're using the wrong powder, George. And you're using too much. You don't want to shatter it, you want to push it. If you do this, you're going to launch that whale, not disappear it.
Thornton, confident in his credentials, reportedly brushed the veteran aside.
Well, I'm confident that it'll work. The only thing is we're not sure just exactly how much explosives it'll take to disintegrate this thing, so the scavengers, seagulls and crabs and whatnot can clean it up.
Is there any chance it might be more than a one-day job?
If there's any large chunks left, and we may have to do some other cleanup, possibly set another charge.
To the credentialed engineer, the experienced amateur was just noise. This was the birth of a failed genius. Let's look at the science of why Thornton was wrong. In explosives engineering, there is a concept called impedance matching. Dynamite is a high-order explosive. It's designed to crack granite. When it hits something soft, like 2 feet of whale fat, it doesn't push it. It shatters the molecular bonds. By using 20 cases of high-velocity powder, Thornton wasn't creating a shovel, he was creating an 8-ton aerosol can. He was about to turn solid fat into a pressurized liquid mist. Thornton made a final, fatal calculation error. He buried the dynamite on the landward side of the whale, thinking it would blow the pieces into the ocean. But wet sand is incredibly dense. It acted as a tamped enclosure. Instead of the force going out, it reflected off the sand like a mirror. The whale became a plug in a massive natural mortar tube. The only exit was up and back, directly toward the spectators. 3:45 p.m., Thornton pushed the plunger. For 3 seconds, it looked like a triumph. A 100-foot wall of sand filled the sky. Then the red rain began. Spectators who had been standing 800 feet away, the safe distance, suddenly realized they were in a kill zone.
Our cameras stopped rolling immediately after the blast. The humor of the entire situation suddenly gave way to a run for survival as huge chunks of whale blubber fell everywhere. Pieces of meat passed high over our heads while others were falling at our feet. The dunes were rapidly evacuated as spectators escaped both the falling debris and the overwhelming smell. A parked car over a quarter of a mile from the blast site was the target of one large chunk. The passenger compartment literally smashed. Fortunately, no human was hit as badly as the car. However, everyone on the scene was covered with small particles of dead whale.
In the aftermath, George Thornton didn't admit to a single mistake. He told the press the operation was exactly right, except that the blast funneled a hole in the sand which directed the whale toward the parking lot. In engineering terms, that's like saying a bridge was perfect, except for the part where it fell into the river. Thornton stayed with the highway department for decades, eventually retiring quietly into the Oregon suburbs. His name forever linked to the most famous bad day at the office in history. As for the state of Oregon, they didn't need to pass a law to ban beach explosives. The sheer sticky trauma of the red rain was enough. Today, if a whale washes up, they use backhoes, they use burial, they use anything but dynamite. The irony was total. Walter Umenhofer's car was destroyed by the very whale of a deal he had tried to prevent. And the seagulls? They never showed up. The blast was so loud and the smell of atomized oil so concentrated that every bird within 5 miles fled.
The seagulls who were supposed to clean things up were nowhere in sight, either scared away by the explosion or kept away by the smell. That didn't really matter. The remaining chunks were of such a size that no respectable seagull would attempt to tackle anyway.
The Highway Division ended up doing what they should have done in the first place. They brought in a bulldozer and buried the remaining, smaller chunks. George Thornton later told the press the operation was a success, save for the hole in the sand. He was later promoted. Oregon, however, immediately banned the use of explosives on beaches forever. We like to think we can engineer our way out of any problem. But nature has a way of reminding us that 8 tons of blubber doesn't care about your blueprints. What's the most over-engineered disaster you've ever heard of? Let me know in the comments. And for the love of God, stay away from the dynamite.